It's Saturday, barely. It's like 4 in the morning, but I teach on Islam on Saturdays, and I've been awake for like 3 hours. So, um, I figured just keep going through Ali's hadiths. Um, like Jesus always calls himself Ali in the Bible. He always says, "I am Aletheia," like over and over again. Like in Aletheia is truth. I'm the way, the truth, and the light. That's why I keep thinking like he always says like I am life, like and that's Zoes, which is looks so much like Zeus. But Ali is who wrote the Quran. So the resolution of patience extinguishes the desire, the fire of desire. So like making a decision to be patient about something, like literally saying like I believe in patience, like being a Jedi. Because what does the Jedi do? They say they make a decision, right? Like when Obi-Wan Kenobi's with like Anakin Skywalker, he always goes, "I believe patience, Master." Or that's Anakin says it to Obi-Wan Kenobi. So like they make a decision apparently because they're Jedi's. They know too. They've studied Ali probably. I mean they have all that. Well, no, they're in the past. Ali studied the Jedi's. So as abilities increase, desires decrease. And recognizing that some people do not have certain abilities is important to understanding people and being a more patient, being a more reasonable person, being a better person. Because say that someone doesn't have certain abilities, say that someone is very impoverished, you have to understand that they have a different mindset because of their financial situation. And I'm a person that really does recognize that like I'm poor and I'm always like limited financially. Like my bank account does not go over $3,000 unless it's the money's gone like within like 2 days. Like that's the way it's been like my entire life. Always because I was a little kid that wasn't allowed to have a job. Like my communications were censored. And like I think that even though I was that broke, I wasn't actually broke, and some people are like actually broke, like they have trouble getting food and stuff like that, and that's one of those things that like you learn from like when you're that poor, you like where you're like hungry, it's a different situation, and Ali even talks about it like about like whoever gives away 1,000 while being mean with a plate of food is not a generous person. Like because like I mean that's a person that doesn't like you're just constantly giving away things, but then like they get stingy about like something that's like so critical. And back in the day, so I've been talking about like trying to understand like people's mindsets and understanding like a person who is stingy or a person who like has more desires than you because they're that broke because they've been that impoverished their whole life. Like there are people that like their whole life they are that poor, and I think that when your whole life you're that poor, like it makes you have like care more about that stuff. Like you're the one that sees Drake's gold chain with all the diamonds and goes, "Oh, that is the coolest. Like all I've ever wanted is that." And like someone like me who just so happens to have owned something stupid in gold that was probably like $350, which to me was a ton of money, knows like I forgot about it until it disappeared. Like I mean, like I got a ring for free from like a class ring that was gold and it had aquamarine. It was cool, and it had like all this stuff on it, and like it's gone now. But like it like I didn't even notice it was gone because it really did not matter to me that much. And a person that has never had anything, that's always struggling for like little stupid things, that like never like is like content like financially, might not have as easy of a time getting near like the point where like they're not they might have more trouble getting over their desires. And I think understanding that is helpful like if you're someone that's broke. But generosity is more sympathetic than compassion. So like you can say like, oh, I feel bad for you, but like if you're generous with someone, like that's better than just like feeling bad for them. Like, and I think it's important to understand that generosity doesn't have to involve like you giving money. Ali says something like, whoever gives a little bit, what matters? It doesn't. If even if you don't have very much, give a little bit. And like my opinion is, if you don't have very much, give a decent amount of your time and your effort and you're caring about people's giving, and like be that kind of person, because there are different ways of giving. A rich person has no time to give. For them, giving money is easy. You as a poor person might have more time, but you also might have less time because you have to work all the time. So, but like really, giving with your actions and giving with your time and giving by helping someone is giving. And I think that like that's something that's missed a lot from the Bible, because the part about giving where like where there's this poor woman who like gave a tiny bit. She gave more than anyone here, is what Jesus says. And I'm pretty sure that's written by Levi, because that's the part of Matthew that was added. And so here Ali says, beware of being attacked by a generous person when he is hungry, and by a mean person when he is satiated. And satiated is like when you're like satisfied, like when you're hungry, when you're satisfied, like in your desires, like hunger and stuff like that. So, but like, I think what's like important to think about here for a second is like what jail is like. Like there's like a limit on how much commissary every person can buy. So like, if there's one rich person around that could get extra food for other people so that they're not assholes, they could, but really like that person's only allowed to buy enough food that they could eat themselves, basically. And like if they're sharing food, it tends to come out of like what they have. But like, I mean, they might have a little bit extra rollover, but not much. And so they're put in a situation where like a generous person and a really nice person might actually turn into a little bit of an asshole over food. And so like you're constantly put into a situation that is like everyone is like in a bad situation with one another because of the food. And recognizing what hunger does to people matters. But also recognizing like what needing stuff does to people matters too, because people do need stuff, and people all over the world need stuff, and there are hungry people all over the world, and there are people that are naked, like literally to this day there are naked people, and like 100 years ago there were a lot of naked people. Like Teddy Roosevelt talks about how there were naked people in Egypt, how everyone was naked. And like I think that like a lot of us don't appreciate how much the clothing business has changed things. But like when he's talking about like beware of being attacked by a generous person when he is hungry, like I think that like that is something that an expert on international relations should really look at and go, oh man, that's interesting. Because like how should we deal with the rest of the world? What would Sun Tzu say? Well, don't back them into a corner. Like if you don't want to fight them, like people will fight out of a corner so that they don't die, so that they don't starve. They will fight because they're hungry. They will fight because they have no other choice. They will fight because they're in so much pain. They will fight because they're freezing. They will fight because like they're in such a uncomfortable situation. And like it's important to figure out like why people fight and what motivates them, and it's important to understand why. Because I think that generally there's reasoning, like behind people's behavior. Sometimes that reasoning is like, what?